And we're live. Welcome to today's Luno live session. It's been a big year for Luno and cryptocurrency, and we just wanted to take the moment to connect with our customers after a long year, look back on the year, and also look forward into 2022 to see what's in store for crypto and for Luno next year. With me tonight, I have a whole bench of Lunos. And I'll quickly do some introductions. We have Apollo. Apollo is country manager for Luno in Uganda. He's all the way from East Africa. We have Lucy. Lucy is Luno's head of legal and compliance. Ava, head of financial crime at Luno. And then also Marcus, who is Luno's CEO all the way from London. So welcome to tonight's Q&A session with the team at Luno. We look forward to receiving and answering your questions. Before we get started, just a couple of pointers now to use Livestorm. You will be able to ask us questions. So bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you can type a question. Other viewers can then also upvote questions. So and then we will obviously answer the questions with the most upvotes first. We will also run polls during the night or during the session. So please share your views and participate in the polls as well. So I think let's get started. I think it was a very interesting year for crypto overall. Like most years in crypto, time usually flies by when you're having fun and when you're having to break down barriers in the crypto world. I think over the past year, from China banning crypto for the 10th time to Nigeria joining China in banning crypto, to Tesla entering the space and announcing that they're going to accept crypto just to go back on their word and then suddenly not accept crypto for payments. Very, very interesting. Luno also had to adapt over the past year, especially Nigeria. That posed a couple of challenges for us, but we persevered there. Lots of positives as well. In the industry, we saw the continuation of institutional interest, mainly in the US. So it really, it's not of any concern to us in the emerging market space at this point, but a lot of interest. We saw big companies like PayPal, companies like Square as well, moving into the industry, making it easier for people to use Bitcoin and crypto for payments. So lots of momentum in the market. I think from a Luno perspective as well, I'm not going to spend too much time on Luno over the past year, but we continued to build the infrastructure for people, for our customers to be able to safely and easily use cryptocurrency, purchase cryptocurrency, store their cryptocurrency. Over the past couple of months, beginning of this year, we added new features to the app. So we added USDC, which is a stable coin, and Ethereum savings wallets that enables customers to store their crypto in a savings account and earn interest on their crypto balance. We also added a couple of new features around things like live chat. So if you still use email to interact with Luno, be sure to use live chat going forward. We added a very cool feature called repeat buy. And so a lot of people, when they consider starting to buy crypto for the first time, they always worry about timing. Should they buy now? Isn't the price too high, or is it the right time to buy? And if you follow a process of buying crypto at certain intervals, then you end up buying in or averaging your cost price over time. And Luno added a feature called repeat buy that enables you to actually do that. So to buy crypto at set intervals. And then I think obviously from a brand perspective as well, we tried to create awareness for cryptocurrency in South Africa through television ads. So I think it was the first cryptocurrency ad on TV in SA with Rassie Erasmus, those of you that watch rugby. And then towards the end of this year, we also put on a marker in the ground in Cape Town, the city where Luno was founded 7 or 8 years ago. And I'm going to ask the team just to play a quick video, just showing you what I'm talking about. Can we get the video going, please? Well, that's great. Marcus, I'm going to ask you a question. You've been around, you're the co-founder of Luno. You've been around since the early days. You fought the battles, since the early days. What do you think that says about cryptocurrency in South Africa and perhaps also Africa as a continent, both in terms of Luno's progress, but also in terms of acceptance and the prospects going forward?
Thanks, Marius. You talk about the battles being fought as if it's finished. I think there's still many, many more battles for everyone to come. The industry is still very early, at a very early stage. But for just out of curiosity for those attending, and thanks all of you for making the time to be here today. When we were just a couple of people in a room, we would actually sometimes walk out and look at the skyline in Cape Town and say, in case it wasn't obvious, all the other bigger buildings, they're all the biggest banks in South Africa and in Africa, actually. And we always said one day, we are going to be there as well, to compete essentially with the existing financial system. And we actually have a photo of one of our co-founders, standing there and pointing to one of the buildings. And so after 7 or 8 years of very hard work by an amazing bunch of Lunauds and of course all of our amazing customers in South Africa, we've been able to kind of put that out there. And as you're alluding to, Marius, I think it's a really significant moment, not just for Luno, it's for cryptocurrency in South Africa and in broader Africa and maybe even the world, where it just draws that line in the sand where it makes it a bit more real. And even, a lot of the, we can run TV ads and Facebook ads and kind of get out there and wear Luno t-shirts and so on. But I think seeing it there on a building next to all the big financial institutions, it's just kind of raised mentally the game for a lot of people. And the amount of feedback we've had from, media and large institutions and so on, where all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, hold on, this crypto thing is actually serious. I know many of you on this call already think it's very serious, and we certainly do, but that almost solidified it in a way that it hasn't done before. And again, it's many years in the making, and so that's very exciting. I think that mental switch that it's going to switch over. And then the other thing I would just say is also, it is an indication of crypto going mainstream. I know, again, for those of you who've already been in crypto for a long time or are early adopters, it feels like everyone is into crypto. I just spoke to someone this afternoon that just joined the team, and I said, what do people think about you joining a crypto company? And she said, most of them said, I don't know, I don't understand how this whole crypto thing works. I don't even know what's going on. And so what that means is it's a really, really exciting opportunity for us to bring it, to a much broader audience, and being on a building or on television is kind of the start of that process. It also comes with a lot of responsibility, obviously, and I think Lucy and Eva can talk a little bit more about that. But it's an exciting moment for all of us, but it marks the start of the journey, not the end of the journey.
Oh, I think the old demand or the old need for transacting and depositing and storing of funds, I think that will still remain. I think it's just time to meet that in a much better way, right? And that is what we're building at Luno. We think people will continue to use their funds, to transact, to store, to send securely, to earn, to invest. But perhaps over the next 5, 10, even 20 years, people might use a different medium, and we think that a decentralized cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin could potentially play an important role in that evolution. So thanks for that, Marcus. And also, we signed up our 9 millionth customer over the past couple of months, and I think we're probably close to 10 million now. We've experienced a lot of growth, and I would just like to share a couple of interesting things about Luno's customers. And if you look back to 2017, Luno customers in 2017 held onto their crypto for an average of 3 months. So once they purchased, likely, the average customer 3 months later, they would have liquidated. And over the past 4 years, that actually increased, and customers currently held onto their crypto for 10 months. So I'm not sure if that's a sign that we're seeing a little bit more sophistication from customers, from people buying crypto, potentially holding on to it for a bit longer. Maybe they're seeing it as a more of a medium to longer term thing than just day trading or short term speculation. And it'd actually be great to know how many of our customers on this call, are day traders versus hodlers, and people using it for payments. And another achievement for us is that we also have 695 people working at Luno currently, which is it's a building crypto platform is not an easy feat, and we have to have people that can ensure a safe app for customers to use, build easy ways for customers to send funds onto Luno, etc. So yeah. But that's enough about South Africa. I would love to get Apollo on the screen here, and I see Apollo just dropped off. If we can get Apollo back on, then Apollo can give us a bit of insight into East Africa. Just give him a second. Apollo, are you with us? Are you online?
Yes. Apologies, my internet dropped. Thanks a lot, Marius. Very quick facts about East Africa. This is about 5 countries: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, with a 2020 population of about 190 million, GDP of about 260 billion in 2020. Who is using crypto? Typically about 20 to 45-year-old males, fresh employed professionals, and not surprisingly, a lot of former Forex traders. Chainalysis grassroots adoption index ranks Kenya at number 5 worldwide in grassroots crypto adoption, and Tanzania at number 19. There's wide spectrum of traders, newbies who are just buying and holding, or who just want to get in and not miss out on the entire wave altogether, and sophisticated speculators who are chasing many altcoins, DeFi, NFTs, yield farming, and very popularly airdrops from new protocols. Ballpark just projecting from $70 million annual volume reported by 2 of the exchanges last year. So ballpark is about $400 million annually traded by people in the region. What are they using crypto for? Remittances. This region receives a lot of remittances from the world, a few $1 billion annually. So remittances, both international and inter-Africa remittances. Investment and speculation, online commerce. This is paying for imports from China. And why are they using crypto? So for cheaper, faster international cross-border money transfer. Then crypto provides more risk-reward potential than a lot of traditional investment vehicles. You'll appreciate that the stock markets in this region are rather lackluster. The entry ticket into land and real estate investing is a bit steep for a lot of people, and crypto presents low barriers for entry for a lot of people. So the profile is quite similar to what it is around many other places of the world.
Well, thanks, Apollo. I think the key takeaway is that crypto is growing rapidly across Africa, and we're seeing grassroots level growth. People use crypto because it offers them a better alternative to what they're currently using. So because of that reason, I think people will continue to find ways to buy cryptocurrency, and that's why it's very important for us at Luno to provide them with that safe and easy access. See, the questions are rolling in. Thanks very much. Remember to upvote the questions so we can answer those questions first. But before we go into the questions, I think just an important topic here is one around security and scams. It's something that's rife in South Africa at this point, not only in crypto but also across the banking sector. And I think scammers also like crypto, for the same reasons as to why we like crypto. It's online, 24/7, 365. It's an instant transfer of value, and so I think I want to get Ava on here and just share her overview and just best practice. What are the non-negotiables that you have to do to ensure that you are safe?
Thanks, Marius. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Very excited to be here. Obviously, always very excited to talk about my work, but more importantly, very excited to be able to give a piece of education and just some more information around what are we seeing in terms of financial crime trends, and what can we do to protect you and you obviously yourself as well. So I think there's no denying that COVID has had a massive impact on South Africans and Africans. In fact, globally, we've seen economic hardship for many families. And what that does in our world is that creates the need for a lot of people to find a form of financial relief. And very often we see that translate into people trying to scam other people out of their money, unfortunately. 2021 has not been an exception in that sense. We've seen a massive uptick across the industry, not just Luno, all crypto platforms, not just limited to South Africa, but basically globally, seeing a tremendous increase in scams, ranging from impersonation scams, people trying to trick you into giving your personal details, to romance scams, people trying to socially engineer what we call you into believing that they're the love of your life, unfortunately, in order for them to scam you, as well as still multi-layer marketing scams and pyramid schemes on the African continent. So what we try to do as a team is to keep you as safe as we can, and in order for us to be able to do that, we need a lot of help. So one thing that we do a lot of since lately is educational campaigns. So you'll see my face and name appear wherever we can, trying to teach you about how to keep yourself safe and what a scam looks like and what you can do to prevent it, but also what you can do should you find that you have been scammed, unfortunately. In addition to that, we are also taking some measures on our own platform to prevent our customers from sending to addresses that we can associate with scams. We use pretty sophisticated technology to monitor transactions that go on the blockchain. And when we get information from our providers that, in fact, addresses are associated to scams, we will not allow our customers to send there, in an effort to just protect them from sometimes themselves. So we really try and make our platform as safe as we can for you to invest and trade in, and also make an impact on the industry as a whole by educational campaigns and by training material that's available for you to have a look at. So one of the things that we often get asked is, what can I do? Like, how do I know that I'm safe? And what can I do to stay safe? There is basically literally a handful of things that you can do. 5 things that you can always look at to know that you're safe. Firstly is, if you're into investing into crypto, make sure that you read up a bit. You don't have to be a crypto boffin. I know that most of us aren't, but you want to know a little bit about what you're getting yourself into, how the technology works, who reputable industry players are, etc. Secondly, once you kind of have your feet wet with that information, go to a reputable exchange, right? Obviously, we'd love you to come to Luno, but that's not a requirement. There are many other exchanges out there that are very good, but choose one that's kind of known in the industry, that you can read up a lot about, and that's very transparent in how they operate. That's how you know that they will do their utmost to keep your funds safe. All right, then thirdly, and this is one that we actually all know, be very careful what you invest in. And if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. So just be aware of who you're letting yourself in with, and that they're not promising you mountain high returns, right? Crypto is super volatile, and that's absolutely true, but it's not a money tree, and it doesn't magically appear out of thin air. So if somebody tries to lure you into investments that you think maybe are a little bit too high, then you just want to be extra careful. And then lastly, we try and do our best to keep you as safe as possible and your funds as safe as possible at our platform, but we really need your help in keeping it that way. So what I always advise people to do is treat your login details, your passwords, your credentials, as if it was your bank account, right? You don't give your account number to any random stranger that tries to invest for you. You shouldn't do that either with any of your crypto information. Nobody in on a reputable exchange will ever ask you for your password. A bank doesn't ask you for your password, so why would we? So when you get asked those type of questions, be very, very, very wary. But yeah, overall, just read up, educate yourself, and be careful, but also be enthusiastic. It's not all doom and gloom.
Well, thank you, Eva. I think if I can just throw my 2 cents in here as well, is if someone ever contacts you through social media, then through a direct message, then just turn your back and walk away. People should not convince you to buy crypto through direct messages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You must do your own research, as Eva said. Then, so a crypto webinar won't be a crypto webinar without touching on regulation. That's a bit of a buzzword, and we've seen a clear trend over the past year globally through the news of China and Nigeria and pretty much each and every country around the world at some stage this year looked into crypto regulation as well. So when I ask Lucy is involved in many regulatory discussions around the world, just to give us a sneak peek into what's happening in the world of regulation currently.
Thanks, Marius. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today. So as Marius says, regulation is really the buzzword around crypto at the moment, and literally every country in the world is giving at least some degree of thought to it. And Africa's no different, different degrees of progress. Obviously, South Africa has made a lot of progress, and I think most people that are on the call today know that there is an IFWG policy paper which sets out how South Africa is going to regulate crypto, and we're very supportive of that. I mean, around the world, we support good regulation of crypto, and by good, I mean regulation that doesn't stifle the industry or make it more difficult for customers to use their crypto. So I think it's coming in South Africa, and that's something we're pleased about. It will also come in other countries across the continent, but I think it's a little further away. I think when it does arrive in South Africa, it's not going to have a huge impact on customers, but it is going to have an enormous impact on the industry. And I think at the highest level, there are sort of two main areas. The first is adoption. Once there is regulation of crypto, it becomes a lot more trusted, it becomes a lot more mainstream. And the second area, which is sort of related to that, is that it just has the effect of lifting the standards of everybody that deals with your crypto, and that can only be a good thing. So we've got that to look forward to. It's not going to be instant. So I think in the sort of interim, the industry itself can help. They can hold themselves to regulated standards, which is what Luno does, and it's also what there are other exchanges that do the same. We're certainly not alone in the industry. Just to give a couple of examples of what we've done, we went out and got ISO 27001 certified. So that's kind of the global gold standard in terms of protecting information and data, to make sure that we hold ourselves to the strictest standards in terms of information security. And then also, you probably read one of our blogs recently. We worked with the audit firm Mazars, who did a reserves audit for us, which is basically to check that all the crypto that we tell you hold with us is actually held with us. So those are just a couple of examples that we and others in the industry do to make sure that we are holding ourselves to those regulated standards until the regulation comes in. And it's coming around the world, and like I say, it will be in Africa pretty soon.
Well, thanks, Lucy. And I think as we move into 2022, regulation will definitely remain our topic. And from Luno's side, we're working alongside regulators across many markets to guide the industry in the right direction. I think on that topic, I'm going to ask Marcus maybe just to share his 2 cents in terms of what's in store for next year from a global cryptocurrency perspective. Marcus, thanks.
Sure. Look, yeah, like Lucy said, regulation is always going to be a big theme. We expect a lot to happen there globally. Typically positive things that is good for the industry, including in South Africa specifically. So excited about that. A few other things for the next 12 months, top of mind. The one is institutional adoption. We always said that that's going to come to crypto in a big way. It has in the US. It hasn't overtly happened in countries like South Africa, but it is behind the scenes actually happening. There's a lot of banks, large investment companies, not just in South Africa, but other markets that are starting to, I would say, more than just look at crypto. A lot of them are quite advanced in terms of thinking about product offerings or investing in crypto and so on. And I think a lot of that will just start kind of seeping into the public domain from next year. So that's going to drive a lot of adoption and kind of public narrative, positive public narrative around crypto. I think, when you think about some other trends like DeFi, that's been very big the last year, NFTs is really massive at the moment. We suspect that it's really, that's going through a hype cycle and it's really at the top of the cycle now. So my gut feel is we're going to see quite a lot of damage in that area. There will be some projects that are better than others, but it's a classic kind of just hype cycle where it's just everything's too frothy at the moment. And so that will actually extend into some altcoins and some of the kind of, more esoteric things in crypto. At the moment, it's just too easy for people to invest in anything and it does well and it's not clear what's good or what's bad. And I think over the next 12 to 15 months, we'll see a big shakeout in that, which again is where, you have to be very careful what you get involved in because, you can end up in a situation that you would not like to be. So be very, very careful. I think we're going to see on the payment side, a lot of interesting developments. So the last year or year or two has been really on investing in crypto as an asset class. And everyone's kind of forgotten a little bit about, you can actually use it. But with the introduction of stable coins, I think you're going to see a lot of new, payments companies, e-commerce companies, all of those come to the market that maybe a few years ago wanted to do it with Bitcoin or Ethereum, but it didn't work out so well. But now they have other things that they can do with it. For example, stable coins. And so over the next 12 months, we're going to see a big inflow of news on that and adoption. And what it's really going to do is it's just going to enable a bigger ecosystem to use crypto. And it's going to drive a lot of the kind of transactional use cases, which is really exciting. Another obvious one that I can think of is, a lot of crypto companies are starting to invest in a lot of brand marketing activities similar to us with ads on TV. You saw some companies buy stadiums in the US. And so you'll continue to see a lot of this kind of big above the line marketing kind of initiatives. It doesn't mean that all companies who do that are actually legitimate companies, by the way. So again, do your own research, make sure you know who to trust, but we're going to see a lot more of that. The last two, I'd say this one I couldn't say if I'm a bit 50-50 on it, but I think, at the moment, everyone talks about the biggest part of crypto is Bitcoin and some, for those of you who know what sats are, Satoshis is like the smallest denomination of Bitcoin. So a big misconception in the crypto market is still that you can only buy a whole Bitcoin, which is really expensive now, but you can actually buy a very tiny piece up to 1 Satoshi, which is only a few cents or 0.0 something cent. And I do think over the next 12 months, you're going to see some of the narratives globally start shifting towards people talking about sats rather than Bitcoin, because it's also easier to denominate things in it, especially on the transaction side. So, let's say transactions become more prevalent. I don't want to say, I'm going to buy coffee for 0.000003475 Bitcoin. But I can say I'm going to buy a coffee for 3,450 sats. That's a little bit easier. Or maybe I'm going to buy a sandwich for 500 sats. So I think when that terminology starts changing, it's going to actually just help people understand crypto a bit better, and it's going to really enable, again, play into the whole transactional use case. So that one's one to watch. And then the last one I'd say is, every year there's multiple big dramas around Bitcoin. Like Mario said, China's banned Bitcoin 10 times now. This year we had a lot on the environment and clean energy. And unfortunately, in most cases, while there are always, good points made, and like anything in life, crypto has positive aspects and negative aspects, the negative ones tend to be overblown or they don't get weighed up with the positive ones. And so, I think there'll be a new one this year. I don't know what that thing will be, but rest assured, there's, before it's been some kind of, supercomputers, or like China, then it was money laundering, then it was the environment, then it was, there's always something big. And so I think this year there's going to be something, right? I don't know what that thing is. Maybe it's, Bitcoin's orange and, we don't like the color orange. Who knows what it's going to be? But the media will find something to latch onto and really go for it. And then we'll just have to spend months debunking it again. And then we'll, have another one and another one. So let's see. It's a bit frustrating, but also kind of brings a little bit of excitement to the industry as well, I guess.
Thanks, Marcus. I think SA specifically, I think we could potentially, maybe not next year, maybe in 2023, see banks enter the space in SA. And I think that will be a watershed moment for the industry, because you will just see this ripple effect with other banks following and potentially also asset managers in the future also offering crypto-related products. We've seen that in the US already. The US obviously is a lot more sophistication around regulation at this point, and also institutional platforms that are able to take custody of billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency and offer that interface to institutional investors. So I think in Africa and SA specifically, we need to create more awareness still, and I think there's still a lot of work to be done on the educational front. So unfortunately, it's still back to the basics for us at Luno next year, in terms of working with our customers in Africa. I see the questions rolling in, from when are we listing Shiba to the Luno Cape Town building. And by the way, we are running a competition. So if you take a photo of that building and you demonstrate your photography skills, then you can win an actual, I think it's a Canon camera, and you can go to the Kruger National Park and you can take beautiful photos of the wildlife there. So if you're in Cape Town and you commute into the CBD or over the weekend, then participate in that competition as well. All right, so remember to upvote the questions. We'll tackle those, from ones with the most number of votes down. And I see a couple of questions around Luno. What's in store for next year in terms of a product perspective, new coins, debit cards, and I think maybe Marcus, if you're happy to answer this one, maybe just give the customers just a glimpse into next year in terms of product.
Sure. Look, the thing is, there's always, there's a lot of things that we want to do and that I think a lot of people want us to do. It's obviously always a balance for us to balance, like what can we do that has the biggest impact for the, for most people, right? It's, and also, do we have the resources to do it? So Marius mentioned the team is nearly 700 people now. That was half of those people joined over the last 10 months, and we're going to double the team again to probably close to 1,500 people over the next 12 months. So those people are all there to help you in some way or another, to give you all the features that you need or to have support around how to use those features. So now just balancing the resources that we have versus what is the, the highest priority. If I had to get a little bit more specific, let's think about a couple of those. So cards would be a, interesting example. Would I want a Luno card in my wallet? Yes, of course. It's very pretty, and I think it'll be very cool. Is a card useful for most people at this point in time in crypto? We suspect it's not really, because for two reasons. One, most people who've bought crypto don't actually want to spend it right now because they think the price is going to go up. And the other reason is it's actually super expensive to like buy something through a credit card with crypto. So when you have crypto and you want to spend it on a credit card, you actually have to not only convert the crypto, which costs fees sometimes, but also you have to pay the credit card company fees. So actually, everything you buy is going to be like 5 to 10% more expensive. So while from a brand point of view and from a customer loyalty point of view, it would be nice, it's actually not the best thing for the majority of customers. So that's why it's not something that's like very high on our priority list. But we are working and looking at, is there something we can do around it? And when is the right time? I think the answer with a lot of product features is not, should we have it or shouldn't we have it? It's when is the best time to give it to people, given all the other competing priorities in the business. The one that, you know, constantly comes up is new coins or new digital assets. Now, again, just to give some context, why do we only have so few on our platform versus many other companies? The reason for it traditionally has been two main areas. The one is there's just been so many scams and bad stuff out there. We've been trying to protect our customers from it for as long as we possibly could. Remember, we've been in the industry for almost 8 years, not just the last 18 months. And we've seen everything come and go. And there's been so many coins or ICOs or things that, you know, went to zero. So we wanted to protect people as much as possible with that. The other reason was just that because our product is mostly aimed at, you know, people that are new to the crypto market. Obviously, we have some early adopters and people that know a lot more, but generally speaking, that's the case. We want to make the product fairly simple to use because if there's just too many things on it, it gets very confusing and people don't know what to do. Now, having said that, I think over the last 2 years, we've seen the industry mature a lot. And now I would say, you know, there's a good argument to say there's a lot of digital assets that are clearly not scams, that, you know, are quite big, that are going places. So what I can say is we are going to increase the number of assets. We will never be a company that just puts everything on it and just say, you know, good luck out there, just buy whatever you want and, you know, you're going to be fine. I think that would be very, very irresponsible. And that's the same reason why stock exchanges can't just list anything, because a lot of it's actually very clearly like dodgy or illegal or so on. So we will add more digital assets as much as we can. But again, we are somewhat constrained also by, for example, regulatory, you know, environments in countries. So some countries, when we speak to regulators, sometimes it's formal where they say, oh, you can do this or you can't do that. Sometimes it's informal where we discuss with regulators, would you be comfortable if we bring so-and-so into country XYZ? So what that just means in practice is we will be adding new coins, but it's probably going to be slightly different by country. And what it will look like in South Africa might be a little bit different from Malaysia or the UK. There was a question around staking. So we will, and you know, we'll give everyone more info on that as soon as we can. Staking, interesting question there. For those of you, you know, who don't know, we're part of Digital Currency Group, and they own the biggest mining and staking business in North America. So we have direct access to some of the best staking products in the world. So we are in discussions with our sister company about, is there something that we can kind of bring into the fold that is unique, that other people in the world might not have access to, that we can give to our customers. So again, there's nothing specific we can announce now, but those conversations are ongoing. And look, then there's a couple of other things, obviously, that we you know, when we requests from customers, things like tax reporting. How do I find out what to report to tax? How do I know what's going on? And this, it might sound like a small thing. It's not a new, exciting new coin, but it's something very practical that people really need. And so we're already putting some work into making that easier for people. That's one example. And then a lot of the work, honestly, is going into just making it easier for people to get their money in and get their money out. Deposits, withdrawals. Can you do it with a debit card or credit card rather than just, you know, EFT? Can you move it with another wallet? Can we make it move faster or cheaper? These are things, once you've been in the crypto industry for a long time, you kind of get used to how things work and you just take it for granted. But we feel there's a lot of room for improvement there, just for our existing customers, but also for new people coming into the industry. So again, might not look the sexiest, but it's something that's incredibly valuable, we feel, to a lot of our customers. But all of that said, please, you know, there's a few other things in the pipeline as well, and a few maybe a bit more exciting things that we can't talk about right now. But please do let the comments, you know, even on the thread there, if you have some ideas or things that are important, please do feed it back. I know some of you sometimes get the opportunity to interact with the Luno team or Marius, you know, in various places in South Africa. Please do keep the suggestions coming. We do really look at Twitter, customer support tickets. All of this gets incorporated in our thinking about how we prioritize things.
Well, thanks, Marcus, for that overview. We've got exciting things in store for next year, and we're working very hard behind the scenes to bring new features to our customers next year. I'm just scrolling through the questions. I'm seeing a couple of questions around customers interacting with Bitcoin traders, customers waiting for profits. Ava touched on that earlier. Ava, if you just have maybe something to add to that, maybe to these specific questions around dealing with the Bitcoin trader and guaranteed profits.
Yeah. So that's very. I'm very happy, Marius, that you picked that up, and I'm also actually very happy for people being very transparent about the questions that they have around this, because I'm sure that it actually is a thing for a lot of people. Like, where do you go? How do you start? Is it safe to use a trader or an investor? So I guess from a day-to-day point of view, it's usually not the safest bet to go with somebody that presents themselves as an investor or a trader. Firstly, if you are a financial advisor or you need to actually be registered to do that. You can't just go out and give financial advice, and that's to keep you safe. And secondly, in an overwhelming amount of cases, these people turn out to be scammers. Now, that's obviously not the greatest of news, because there's lots of people out there that want to get started, right? And they don't know how to trade, and they don't know really how to invest. So the first protocol is really to go online and to look up libraries that talk about how cryptocurrency investment works. There's a lot of material out there on the Luno YouTube on how to set up a wallet, how to deposit, how to withdraw, how trading works, how our exchange works, etc. So get yourself familiar with that and do baby steps, right? Nobody became an overnight millionaire. Well, at least none of us. So you want to take it step by step and start small. Don't throw in your pension and savings into something that you really don't know much about. And that's fine. You can grow into it. Everybody that started on this journey has had to grow into our jackets. And the same goes for investments. So go and read up. There are groups that share information and knowledge around how platforms work and how coins work, and they track coins, etc. And that's fine. Sharing information is always a great thing, but be very wary when those groups start giving you advice on what to invest in and ask for an upfront profit, or ask you to make a deposit into a wallet that's not yours, etc. So when you see those things come up, that's not an investor. I've never met an investor that asked me upfront to please give him 15,000 Rand in his own bank account so that he could invest for me. That's not how that works. So if it doesn't work like that in the fiat, so in the normal South African Rand economy, it doesn't work in the crypto economy either. So I think that's really it. Be a little bit wary. Go and share knowledge with each other and search for your own knowledge, but don't believe anybody that claims to be a recognized investor or trader. Okay, that's not how this works.
Thanks, Eva. Bottom line is we do not have salespeople working for Luno, approaching customers directly. And if you're interested, you're intrigued by cryptocurrency, start small. On Luno, you can buy R1 worth of cryptocurrency. You don't have to start by throwing your whole salary at it immediately. Right. Important questions. There's one around security. Dylan's asking, is it safe to hodl? Hodl is crypto speak for investing, I guess, for long term. It means hold on for dear life. Is it safe to hodl on the exchange, or is hardware wallets more secure? It's a very good question, very important question. And I'm going to ask Apollo if he would like to answer that one for us.
Great. Thanks, Marius. Good question, Dylan. So I think majority of people who save money, set money aside, do it in a bank. You could do it under your mattress. You could buy a safe, put in your wall. You could put it in a bottle and bury it under the foundation of your house. But for practical reasons, majority of people do it in a bank, right? And for the same reason, if you find a trustworthy institution, a trustworthy exchange, and trustworthy is easy. You read up on them. Do they have a clean track record? Are they operating transparently? Do your research. If it is a trustworthy entity, then and you know how they manage their affairs and customer funds, then that could be a safe bet. I'm not providing advice. I'm just suggesting, right? And then also For a lot of smaller traders, it is much more worthwhile having an exchange manage or custody your funds for you. A lot of the people that I know using hardware wallets have really huge sums and want to hold it for a long time, which I think is a small percentage of the crypto universe. So in brief, do your own research, but if you get a good, credible exchange like Luno in this case, then your funds are pretty safe.
Thanks, Apollo, for that answer. Yeah, then more interesting questions. One from Nabil around crypto and taxation, and that's very topical at this point with the SARS deadline approaching, and that's tomorrow. So in case you didn't know that, they actually extended the deadline by a week to accommodate people impacted by load shedding. So that was quite a bonus. But yeah, so short answer there is yes. The tax event is triggered when you dispose of crypto. So if you just hold, you just invest and you don't sell your crypto, then nothing happens. There's no tax event. Similar to when you just hold onto a share that you've purchased on a stock exchange, no tax event. But the moment you sell your cryptocurrency, you go from cryptocurrency to rands or to fiat currency, then there's a likely tax event. So if you sold, if your proceeds is more than what it cost you initially, then you've made a gain, and you will be taxed on that gain. And if you made a loss, then potentially you can claim that loss against another crypto-related gain. So that's the long answer short. SARS is making it a little bit easier for us at this point to declare out our tax crypto transactions. So on the tax returns, there's a dedicated question actually in the beginning where you have to answer, did you trade cryptocurrency over the past year? And if you tick yes, then it opens up a nice form for you to complete. Luno makes it a bit easier for you. So you can export or download your transaction history. That'll make it easier for you to calculate your gains and losses. And hopefully in the new year, we'll be able to support our customers better by offering them access to certain crypto tax tools as well. Question from Ian around Luno's 3%. Ian is referring to the Luno savings wallets that we launched over the past year. Lucy, would you want to answer that question?
Yeah, sure. Good question, Ian. It's the savings wallet is available to all customers, but you choose to use it. So on the app or the website, you will opt in. You will choose the currency that you want to put in your savings wallet, and you'll move the amount across that you want to put in the savings wallet. We then on the back end have a third party that we place those assets with, and that generates the return through the way that they lend those assets out. You can take your money, take your crypto back out of your savings wallet at any time, but obviously the interest, which is paid to you in the same cryptocurrency, that only accrues obviously while the crypto is in the savings wallet. So it's just a way to essentially use your crypto, put it to work, rather than just having it sit in your account. But it's purely optional, and you do have to decide to use the savings wallet. It doesn't happen automatically.
Thanks, Lucy. So we've got good momentum. We've covered new coins, we've covered scams, tax on crypto as well, and we're getting more questions. So thanks for submitting those questions. Keep upvoting these questions. The next one I'll grab here is around crypto prices and why there's a difference between the crypto price on Luno and some other cryptocurrency platforms. Marcus, would you want to take that one for us?
Sure. I mean, this question literally comes up every time we have a webinar with folks, and it's a good question, because I think it depends on where people get the prices from, but people tend to look at prices on different exchanges globally. People Google prices, and then you see that there are some price discrepancies. So just by the way, there's a very detailed write-up on our blog about it if you want to get really into the detail, but I can explain just kind of very high level why that happens. Firstly, we don't set a price. I think there's a lot of misconception where people go, I come to Luno and they sell me Bitcoin. We don't sell you Bitcoin. When you come to Luno, you are buying Bitcoin from someone else selling Bitcoin. It's just a marketplace with a price. It's like Forex trading. It's like you're not buying it typically from the bank, you're buying it from someone else selling it, or trading shares. So what that means is we can't influence the price of crypto on Luno. Literally, Luno does not set the price. The price is set by all the customers buying and selling from each other. So that's the first thing, right? We don't set the price. The price is what's set by the market. Now, why is it different? Now, in theory, it shouldn't be that different from anywhere else in South Africa, because what happens is if there's another exchange somewhere and the price is different, you will get people that are, you call them, they arbitrage, and they will actually, if it's cheaper on the one exchange, they will buy it and they'll go sell it on the other one and make a bit of profit. And they'll keep on doing that until the prices actually end up being in equilibrium and it'll be the same. So locally, it would be a bit odd that it's different. If it's cheaper on another exchange in South Africa, it might be that the price is being manipulated, I would guess, to kind of get more customers or something. But I would find it a bit odd for that. However, when you look at foreign exchanges, there would be a big price differential. And the reason for that is simply just that it's very difficult to arbitrage between in and out of South Africa. Like there's a lot of effort involved in saying, oh, I'm going to buy in another country, I'm going to move the crypto, I'm going to sell it, but then I have to move it back into another country because a lot of people can't just move it. South Africa has capital controls, people have to declare transactions for the capital controls. So, and also just as a reminder that like when you Google exchange rates, that's not the actual exchange rate, right? Like the actual exchange rate of buying dollars or doing something is what you get at the bank or at your bank. And it's not, the Google price is just like a rough estimation, but it's actually incorrect. So I don't want to get like too deep technically, but again, the two key points to remember is one, Luno doesn't set the price. We can't control it. And B, if there are differentials, it's probably because, it's between a foreign exchange and a local and a South African exchange. And it's just because of capital controls, it's very difficult to arbitrage that out. And by the way, you would see this in most countries with capital controls. You would see it in Nigeria. You would see it to some extent in Indonesia, Malaysia. You would not see it between countries that don't have capital controls like the US and the UK. So again, it's not a Luno thing. It's just like a market structure thing that exists. I hope that's useful, but please go look at the blog and there's a lot more detail with some calculations showing how you end up getting to those numbers in a lot of detail that hopefully is quite helpful.
Right, we've got 6 minutes left, so let's try and work through as many questions as possible. Really, really good questions, by the way. I'm actually also learning some stuff tonight from Marcus and the other panelists as well. We've got a question from Ishmael. Will Luno allow access to government to tax unrealized gains? So just touching on my answer to the tax question previously, if there is no realization, if you don't realize a profit, then there's no tax, right? So if there's, that's just the general principle, right? If it's unrealized, no tax. But I'm going to ask Lucy maybe just to answer that question or the rest of the question for us, please.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm guessing the question is whether we give information to allow them to tax you. And the short answer is not as a matter of course. There's certainly no regular information flow between Luno and SARS. For all regulatory authorities, law enforcement, they have the power to order people to provide them with information. So if we were to receive a lawful request, we'd have to abide by it. But again, for all authorities, we push back to the extent, well, first of all, to make sure it's lawful, but also that they're only requesting the information that is actually required. And also we try to the greatest extent possible to be transparent with our customers. So if there is a request for information and we're allowed to tell our customers about it, we absolutely will, because we want to make sure that everybody knows what's going where.
Good, thank you, Lucy. Question from Francois Harris. The question is, if I have sent crypto abroad to a wallet overseas, SARB says that is illegal, so now do I have to send it back, or what do I do? It's a very good question, and we're in this difficult period now, which is just before the Reserve Bank will release their final position and before they implement regulation. But they've come out this year and they said that if you send cryptocurrency from a South African-based exchange or wallet, whether it's private wallet or whatever, to an overseas-based platform based on location, then you're in contravention of exchange control regulation. So that is what they're saying. We don't necessarily agree with that, but unfortunately, they are the regulator, and that is what they're saying. So the onus is really on the customers to not send out crypto to overseas platforms. And if you've done so in the past, then that was obviously before SARB made these statements and took this position. So my advice would be to contact the Reserve Bank and to inform them of your transactions and just say, honestly, you think that you know in default, and they must provide you with guidance. So that is what I would do in this instance.
Marius, if I can just add that, these increasingly, I think for the business, we will, get a lot more questions around what do I do for tax? What do I do for exchange control? And, we will, as far as possible, give guidance on what we think is the right kind of approach, like some of the answers here. But what I do want to just emphasize, the point is, we are not the central bank, we are not SARB, we are not the tax authority. So ultimately, that is a relationship between you and them, and you need to make sure that you understand what the requirements are. Again, we will work with them on your behalf, saying, we think this is good for the industry, please don't tax unrealized gains, please don't do this and that. But ultimately, they are going to make rules. They will publish them on their websites. They will, now again, some of the things are rules that you have to follow. Some of the things are guidance or suggestions, and then there's maybe some room for interpretation. But, as much as we can communicate that back to our customers, we will. But at the end of the day, it is a responsibility. You don't go to your bank and ask them, should I be paying tax on my salary, right? It's like, yes, you have to pay tax on your salary because they said you need to. So just make sure that you stay clear communication and watch what a lot of these authorities are saying. And again, where it's unclear what the action is, we will try as much as we can to help. But at the end of the day, it's their, if they say it, they have to tell you what they want from you to fix the situation, or what the expected behavior is. It's, in some cases, we unfortunately don't have the answer as much as we'd like to give it.
All right, we are almost at the end of the session, and I'm going to squeeze in one more question because I can. And I'm going to pick a question from Adam, and that's, when will Luno add profit tracking per coin? And so, Adam, if you go onto your Luno app, and you go into the top right corner, you'll see there's a graph or an upward spike. Tap on that, then you'll open up a screen called Profit and Loss View. So that's a new feature that Luno launched 2 or 3 months ago, and that tracks your portfolio growth since you purchased your first cryptocurrency on Luno. So that's a nice indication of the growth that you've experienced, and hopefully you are experiencing good growth. Thanks everyone. I think so. It's 7 o'clock. Thanks very much. Just checking if you've got any final comments or remarks from any of the panelists before we close out. All good. Thanks very much to the panelists, and most importantly, thanks to all our customers that joined in at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night. It's not easy, especially on the 1st of December. So thanks for joining in. We really appreciate it. As Marcus said, please keep sharing feedback with us. And even if you want us to list, Dogecoin, please ask us to list Dogecoin, and ask us on Twitter and through our live chat feature in the app, and through all our social media channels as well. We wish you a very blessed Christmas period, and hope everyone rests out, and we are in for big things in 2022. So thanks a lot, and have a great evening.
Thanks, everyone.